you go about finding mentors for SRE? But then kind of, backpedal and generalize it. Like, how do you go about finding mentors, period? And it's kind of funny because I have a mentor and I literally had this question for him on my semi monthly session with him because I want to get a board of advisors for Cloud Posse, and how do I go about that? And the wrong way in my book is kind of like, just reaching out to somebody and saying, hey, can you be my best friend? Hey, can you be my mentor? Right? It's a little awkward. You got to establish a little bit of rapport first. You got to establish some connection. And one of the ideas that he had also is just like, what if you just start by mentoring yourself, right? And then through that, things maybe fall into place. Maybe those people you mentor become reciprocal mentors as well in other things. The other thing is not limiting yourself to one mentor in any one of these things. We all have lots of different experience. We're subject matter experts in different ways. So I think thinking about, first of all, identifying what kinds of areas do you feel you have the biggest gaps on and the least insight on architecture or overview, and then put a list together of potential people that you're interested who could meet that niche, and start interacting with them on Twitter. If they have projects that they maintain on GitHub, become an active participant, opening issues, and start establishing an interest in that. And it goes both ways. You'll start picking up just by doing that, and you'll be recognized, and it won't be so awkward in the end when you set up some time to talk with them. Biggest thing I realized is people are super friendly in general. You can just email them at some point and jump on a call and see where things go. Any additions? How would you guys go about finding mentors? Have you found mentors? Do you have mentors? What's your advice?
The biggest one for me has been like just working with other people who are doing what you're trying to do. So like the office hours thing and stuff here, but people what I work with too. But it's like the time in my life that I had the least mentors, and I struggled the most with trying to figure things out for myself, and I didn't really have anyone to fall back on. Was just when I was trying to do self-employed, and do it on my own, and it just turned out that I just wasn't ready for that, So it's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and our community, I think, is a great place to start looking and being involved. You'll see a lot of regulars here. And we have channels like around release engineering and SRE. So that's probably a good place to start to get to know some folks and eventually, maybe find a mentorship opportunities.
There's one distinction that, or one situation you might find yourself in is there may be a difference between a mentor and a consultant, in the sense that if your relationship to the material is more long term, like the way a martial artist or a musician might be, then you can find the mentors. You can find a mentor basically by making contributions to that craft or that community, like sweeping the floor, for example, in the dojo. Right?
Yeah.
And eventually, so that's if it's a long term. If your relationship to the material is like, forever.
Yeah.
But if what you're looking for is basically somebody to give you advice on a particular topic and it's more short term, then you'll probably, if you approach it, if that's the situation, you're better off approaching it as a consultant, where you say, hey, I need some guidance in this range of areas, and it's, and that way you're going to get higher, everybody's going to be happier with your arrangement.
Yep, I totally agree. Don't look for doing it free. I testify for myself at Cloud Posse. I have paid for mentorship. I've paid for consultants basically to get me up to speed on things. 5 years ago, that was Kubernetes. Pierre Kircher, I'll never forget, he totally untangled this mess of Kubernetes for me over many very expensive phone calls. And there's others that I pay right now as well for that same kind of advice. So approach things from a consulting perspective. I think that's great advice, Blaze. And be prepared to offer real fair consulting prices. $250, $300 an hour. But look, you don't need 10 hours. You need 1 or 2 hours here or there. So, all right. Stefan, I know you wanted to jump in.
Yeah. I was gonna say something funny about mentorship. Yeah, Hackerspace is a really good place to find people with similar interests. That's the place where my mentor comes from. You know, I started going to one Hackerspace and just being around people that share similar, like you know, what they are influenced by, interests and so on. And there I found a mentor, and he's one of those really old school Linux guys that have been working since 1995, for example, building data centers and so on. And it was really beneficial for him to explain to me, for example, networks. And also a great friend. And yeah, I just want to say that Hackerspace are amazing places to also grow with other people, but a little bit off from the corporate like feeling, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree generally with the sentiment of that. I think so. Hacker spaces are definitely more common also in like major cities with a tech hub or whatever you're doing. I guess if you're like in some more, remote town with different industries, it could be harder. Somebody else also recommends, meetup groups is also a good option.